Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more. The latest show goes after hours. The Beyond Swanky podcast with Kennedy Lucas brings out more for our Lucas Nation fans. Tune in for reviews, topics, and even special guests. We go beyond the swankiness as it's juicy as hell with our DJ Lou Pezzi, playing nothing but the hits on the Spotify podcast version. Live from our studio of Swanky Studios, it's the Beyond Swanky podcast with Kennedy Lucas on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio station. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
You are now tuned in to Atlanta's hottest radio show.
Our stories from our studio to your ear. It's the Beyond Swanky podcast.
With your host, Kennedy Lucas. On Swanky 93.3 radio station. The Heat 94.6 radio station.
Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Beyond Swanky podcast with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Welcome back to our wonderful Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3, the radio station, and the Heat 94.6. Welcome back to another exciting podcast. It's the Beyond Swanky podcast, season 2. Again, I'm your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. We're live, ladies and gentlemen, on all of our major platforms. Of course, what's up, T? We got T up in the building, of course. Beatrice, she's here today. We had to have a meeting today. Monica, she's here. James is here. Addison and Arthur is here. DJ Lou Pezzi, shout out to you, man. You're here in the studio as well. Everybody's here for another exciting podcast today. And I'm excited, right? I had to shout out DJ Lou Pezzi for today's podcast because he was here last episode and I felt bad because we were rolling the intro and we had to get right into it. And I'm sorry, man, I forgot. Now, if you guys don't know, my man DJ Lou Pezzi, he's a DJ and artist. He got a new album that we collaborated on that's available on all major platforms. It is called Special Effects. Give it a listen. It's a great album that me and him put together, and we've got more work to do in music, so I cannot wait until the next roll around in music. And he is now in charge of curating some music for this show. If you're listening to the Spotify version of the Beyond Swanky podcast, I appreciate it. For all of the people that might be listening to the episode on iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Audacity, now if you want the same podcast but with the hints of some good music on the show, you got to listen to the Spotify version of this podcast. It's available right now, and then you just go to the Beyond Swanky podcast. This episode's going to have the same title, but then if you're on the Spotify app and you see the artist names, that's meaning that is our podcast with the music version. DJ Lou Pezzi works very, very hard for that. Make sure we play nothing but the hits on our show. So again, thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you, DJ Lou Pezzi, for being full-time with us and just making sure that we're doing our thing. Now, today's podcast is going to be very special because we've got a lot of interesting, more of hip-hop news today, but I do have quite a few good news, guys. Now, you guys are kind of getting the sneak peek of an announcement that's coming later. Like I say, for everybody who is a filmmaker, film director, film producer, film writer, you want to be on this platform. You want to be on this platform. So I'm in the office today, and I'm getting emails, and I'm getting a lot of emails about IMDb. Now, if you guys don't know about IMDb, it's a site that for every filmmaker, every film writer, director, you want to be on this type of website because it's really, really interesting. So of course it's I want to say it's the International Movie Database. That is the site that a lot of famous people are on, a lot of actors, directors, writers. Shout out to my girl Shell Purcell. She's on IMDb, obviously. And I got emails today, and turns out that I am also on IMDb. Very, very excited for that. If you guys can search me up right now. We did upload some photos and update the profile because the profile just was missing some information, and I'm not mad at this missing information because I think now that I'm up and coming filmmaker, having my films on Prime Video and Tubi TV and platforms, this is very new to me as a filmmaker. So right now I got very excited for that. Again, it's Kennedy Lucas is known for Eden Prime in 2022. We had to update that because the movie came out in 2023. But the film is there. Eden Prime is there. Director, and I also played this character, or voiced this character called Francis Green. He was one of the villains in this movie. So yes, I did play a villain. So we updated the profile. It's there, and then they have another profile, same profile, but it's Lucas Kennedy, and they have it as director, actor, and writer. So again, we had to kind of fix that a little bit, and then of course it was Eden Prime, Drive TV. I had to get that off because I haven't worked on that. And then they also have Skipper and Copper Saves the World. That is one of my movies. So very, very excited. Again, it's out, but it's kind of not out yet because we're waiting on the updates. Barely new to the game, so that's probably why they were missing some information at first. But is very humbling to have my movies out there on IMDb. IMDb is huge, guys. I know a lot of people are on bigger networks like Netflix and Hulu and whatnot, but to have my name as a director, actor, writer, my movie Eden Prime is actually one of my best movies. I gotta say that, guys. Until the documentary comes out, then that might be. But Eden Prime is my most recent movie and one of my better movies, right? I can honestly say Eden Prime is a little bit better than Hardline Second Term. I gotta say that because with Eden Prime, we worked really, really hard on that film, voice acting, putting it together, animating, adding watercolor to it. It took a lot for this movie. So very, very excited for that. Even though I did get with that movie and every movie, I had received a bad review on Prime Video. I think it's somebody that was trolling me, but we're not going to dabble into that. So that was my announcement. Very, very excited for that. Guys, IMDb is a big website that you want to be on. For us actors, writers, film directors, film producers, scripters, you want to be on something like this. And I'm very humble about that, T, because it's been a long time coming, right? If you asked me 10 years ago that I was going to be on this big website, I would laugh. But now that I'm on this website and my movie is getting recognized, two of my movies by that matter is getting recognized and has been a hit, I'm very humbled. I'm very, very, very blessed. So I saw that today and I thought, wow, it'll be a great announcement for today's show. Again, formally gonna tweet about it and Instagram. I'm just waiting until the information is correct because there's a lot of misinformation. So I had to update that. So we're gonna talk about this festival lineup because this has been the hype of the conversation. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Dreamville Festival, it is coming for out there, and everybody's been talking about this. Everybody's been talking about the lineup. the show itself. Now, if you guys don't know, Dreamville Records is J. Cole's record, right? Very, very smart for him to build his own record label, Dreamville, right? He made an album called Dreamville. So I'm a huge J. Cole fan, by the way. If you guys don't know, I love J. Cole's music. It's amazing. He has this festival, and you know it's going to be busy. Now, it is set to be at Raleigh, North Carolina on April 1st and April 2nd. And let me tell you, that's very good because a lot of people don't do a lot of things on April 1st and 2nd, right? A lot of people don't. This is very smart for him to have it a couple of days, maybe weeks before festival season. Now, if you guys don't know, festival season meaning Coachella, people's festivals, concerts, things like that roll around the summertime, right? Starting May, June, July, and a little bit of August. So a lot of people are dabbling into it, right? And this is smart because you've got who you got. You've got who's touring right now. You got Beyonce that's getting ready to go on her tour. If you guys are K-pop fans, Twice is one of my favorite K-pop groups. They're getting ready to come to America on tour. So a lot of people are starting to tour starting late May. So very, very excited for this. Again, it's Saturday, April 1st through the 2nd. And guys, let me read you this lineup because this lineup is crazy. So day one, April 1st, you got J. Cole, you got Drake, you got Usher, you got, and this must be new, Imagine Dragons is listed as the lineup. But hold on, let me go to the actual site itself just to make sure this is accurate because I just want to make sure this is accurate. Let me get that. Let me get the lineup real quick. Okay, sorry. I was looking at the wrong, because Imagine Dragons was on that lineup. They could be, I don't know. So again, April 1st through the 2nd, here's the lineup. Day one, Saturday, you got Usher. Well, first you got J. Cole and Drake, because, right? Usher, Lil Durk, Ari Lennox, and Ari Lennox. Oh my God, I'm a huge Ari Lennox fan, by the way. City Girls, which is very, very good. You got Sean Paul. You got Earth Gang. You got Jesse Reyes, very fantastic artist. Key Clock. You got Sir. You got Lutz, Omen, Marcus Clay, and Vic Tony. Right? Those are the day one lineup. Sounds amazing, right? You got Usher, Ari Lennox, City Girls, Jesse Reyes, Sean Paul, and Sir. Those are the artists that I like the most. And Lil Durk, his songs are good too. Day two, get this, T. You got J. Cole and Drake, Summer Walker, JID, Glorilla, Buzz, Waka Flocka Flame, Mario, Ari Star, Baby Tate, Cause, Jordan Ward, Ruben Vincent, and Burna Boy. Yo, J. Cole, I doubt he's listening. He might be listening to podcasts. I don't know. J. Cole, my man, you got something right here. Right? This is a great lineup for a 2-day festival. You got all of these amazing artists to perform. Now, I gotta say, both days are gonna be great. I feel like day two will have more of an impact, right? Because number one, you got J. Cole and Drake, arguably one of the out of top 5 best rappers in the game right now. So you got J. Cole and Drake, day two. Summer Walker, hit R&B artist, goddess, if you will. Glorilla, right? Glorilla, she's glowing up as of late. Burna Boy, I'm a huge Burna Boy fan, by the way. You got Mario. Yo, look, Mario is the man with the plan when it comes to R&B. I'm a huge Mario fan. I liked him in all of his albums. I liked him in Empire. And I'm sorry, Omarion, but Mario whooped Omarion's ass in the versus battle, by the way. So this is a great lineup for day two. Not saying that day one's not going to be good. Both days are going to be amazing. This is going to be a sell-out show festival. It's going to sell out. It's going to probably oversell out because such of this great lineup is a great idea. Millions will be made into this, and I'm glad to see that artists are using their own label for festivals. They don't have to go through a big corporate label. They don't have to get all this, and they probably got a lot of funding, but they don't have to go through corporate ways to perform and get this festival off the ground. And they know that they're not going to get snubbed out of money in ticket sales, right? Raleigh, North Carolina is going to have a busy weekend that weekend. It's going to be impactful. I cannot wait to see and I'm sure a video and stuff is going to be out on social media so we can critique it on our show. But that's very interesting lineup for the Dreamville festival. I'm excited. I'm super, super excited for this festival. I would like to go to this, but I'm sure the tickets are going to be expensive because we're here in Atlanta, right? So to me, Raleigh, North Carolina will be maybe about a 5-hour drive, give or take, with traffic here from Atlanta to North Carolina. So it's a short ride up there. But I'm pretty sure that the ticket is going to be sold out by time. But very, very excited for sure. Let me see. Let's say if we go to buy tickets now. Yeah, these tickets they're up there, right? So I'm looking at tickets. General admission for a ticket is $249. In general admission plus is $549. You got the VIP JV. That's going to be $749. The varsity VIP, you're looking at $1,999. Oh, and there's more. The MVP VIP, that's $1,499 plus tax. Shuttles to downtown is $20. Parking is $30. So not for me, because that is a hefty price, but a lot of people are probably going to pay for that MVP VIP, and this is how they're going to make their money. They're going to make a lot of money from this festival. Again, congratulations to the Dreamville team. Congratulations to K.L.P. He got something. He got something right here. Very, very excited for that. Can't wait to see more on social media from this outlet. We're very, very excited to see more from the Dreamville Music Festival. Get your tickets today. I mean, if you want to spend, look, team. Now, we're going to be in Atlanta in April because we're filming a movie, 1943. We're en route and filming that. So of course I won't go, but a lot of people will spend that money to watch. People are going to spend that money for that festival because that's such a great lineup. People are not going to pass out on that. So shout out to Dreamville again. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we've got more to talk about here on the show, Beyond Swanky Podcast. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Live from our newsrooms brings back our hit news network, SNN, with many news anchors like Arthur Brooks, Addison Hayden, and Beatrix Gemma. Brings you stories about the news worldwide. Tune in on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations. To get the latest news today, listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more. The latest show goes after hours. The Beyond Swanky Podcast with Kennedy Lucas brings out more for our Lucas Nation fans. Tune in for reviews, topics, and even special guests. We go beyond the swankiness as it's juicy as hell with our DJ Lou Pezzi, playing nothing but the hits on the Spotify podcast version. Live from our studio of Swanky Studios, it's the Beyond Swanky Podcast with Kennedy Lucas on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Beyond Swanky podcast with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Everybody is here. The crew is here in the studio, Swanky Studios, to give us yet another exciting podcast. Shout out to DJ Lupizzi for giving us the bangers on the show here today. We did get word about, since we were talking about J. Cole Dreamville Festival in April, we did get some good news. The Super Mario movie has been pushed up, which is great. Now it's been said that the movie was set to come out April 7th. And that was a Friday, but it's been bumped up to April 5th, that Wednesday. So very, very exciting for me because typically we are off on Wednesdays So I'm going to make April 5th official Super Mario Day. I'm trying to, so I asked my brother to see if he wanted to go. And he didn't seem very interested. So, and maybe he would still go and see it. And I'll probably ask one of my squads, like, hey, or maybe, you know what I'll do? Because we have my clique. We roll like that, guys. I'm gonna ask them in the chat, like, hey, April 5th, clear your schedules. We all should go see the Super Mario movie, just to see what happens. I'm gonna put that in the chat and see what everybody says, because I definitely do want to see that movie in theaters. Look, a lot of people are saying, oh, I don't want to see it because of Chris Pratt. He's playing Mario. I don't care about that stuff. I want to see what this movie is about. I want to see the story of Super Mario. And honestly, Chris Pratt doesn't sound that bad as Mario. Let's call a spade a spade. I get why people say that, but I honestly think he could swing Super Mario. Obviously, he's going to play him multiple times because I'm sure they're going to make a Super Mario 2 and a Super Mario 3, right? That's given, right? So we have to look past that. But again, it's good news. Super Mario movie has been bumped up from April 7th to April 5th. So cannot wait. It's going to be amazing for sure. Now, speaking of something that's not really so amazing, we got to talk about 50. Let's talk about 50. So 50 Cent accused of confronting an ex-drug lord at his home over $1 billion power lawsuit. Now, get this, ladies and gentlemen. 50 Cent has been accused of confronting an ex-drug lord over $1 billion lawsuit relating to his Power series. Of course, Corey Ghost Highland Sr. filed a 10-figure suit against 50 Cent, Courtney Kemp, one of the hit producers for the show Power, and the Starz Network in 2021 over claims Power was based on his life, and that was Corey Ghost Highland Sr., which was dismissed by 50's legal team at the time. Now, according to the All Hip Hop news source, Ghost has claimed 50 showed up to his house on 2 occasions in either July or August of 2021, and this was, quote, a few days later, 50 Cent shows up, and this was quoting from Corey Ghost Highland Sr. A few days later, 50 Cent showed up about half mile from the plaintiff's home. The plaintiff being, Corey Ghost Highland, sees the same truck that pulled into his driveway and the 50 Cent, at the 50 Cent event. The legal documents would also read, So plaintiff realized it was, either defendant Jackson or his entourage who decided to, quote unquote, pull up. When you're looking, I need to slow down when I'm reading the script here. When you're looking for a confrontation, Your Honor, this is what people say. Nowadays, up to this point, plaintiff had ignored a lot of the subliminal attacks on him online, but now 50 Cent is bringing the drama right to the plaintiff's front yard, of course. So the plaintiff responded to 50 Cent the way any normal person would respond to a possible threat. Plaintiff Corey Ghost Highland Sr. prepared himself for whatever was going to happen. Of course, Corey Ghost Highland Sr. claimed the entourage was armed and said it was clear 50 Cent wanted to confront him. Corey Ghost Highland wanted to know why 50 Cent came to his house, but of course, Corey Ghost Highland couldn't get past 50 Cent's security. The documents also continue that the men in the trunk repeated the same intimidation tactic and left By this time, they appear to be armed. I understand why Corey Ghost Highland Sr. was a little bit nervous, right? Because I would have been nervous if somebody confronted me and I noticed that they had a weapon, being a gun, right? I've had people confront me on things. I had, never to the extent of people having a weapon, but you can understand why people get nervous when somebody's confronting you and you can see the weapon. So I understand this. Now, I don't know how lucrative this lawsuit is going to go. 50 Cent, I'm sure he has a very powerful legal team, right? Because he's launching so many shows and doing so much dope stuff. I can understand 50 Cent's having a legal team. Yes, I understand that, right? And they're very, very powerful, right? 50 Cent, he's rich. So he's going to pay high price for a good legal team. I can also understand why producers, actors, directors might say that, hey, this is a good way for me to exploit so I can get some money. Not saying that Corey Ghost Highland Sr. is wrong. I'm saying the show came out, I want to say 2015, 14, one of those years. So why is this accusation just now popping up now that this show is widely successful? So here's more from the documents, guys. Of course, so Corey Ghost Highland family armed themselves because defendant Jackson came back to plaintiff's neighborhood for the second time, but once again security protected him. Of course, plaintiff again tried to get to him and asked why he is coming to his house and then in the neighborhood, but security prevented that. It's clear. This was documentation, end quote. It's clear, Your Honor, he was seeking a confrontation and came very close to getting what he came for. Of course, Corey Ghost Highland previously claimed 50 Cent's associates have been bullying him and making threats on his life. So this is a very sticky situation. Like I say, 50's very, very powerful, right? He's very rich, very, very powerful, and money does things to people who are powerful. So I don't know. I don't know. 50 Cent, some people say he a gangster, right? It's in his songs, right? It's in his songs. It's in, some of the shows he's doing, but he's very, very powerful. I don't know how lucrative this is. It could be somebody who trying to catch a check, right? You can make allegations and maybe they'll pay you off, right? Not saying that he's wrong, because it could be true. But look, a lot of people have done some things just to get a check, because let me tell you, it's hard out here. People can't afford a lot of stuff right now in today's economy. So everybody is willing to do pretty much almost anything to cash in on that check, right? So we'll follow close to this story. This is a very funny story, but it's just one of those things that it does happen, and it's out there, and it's getting out there. It's getting real. It's getting real quick. So I can only pray that it just kind of pray that it's not as worse than what it is. So it's just one of those things. Now, before we take another commercial break here today on the show, this has been a topic of conversation that I've wanted to talk about, and this is more of our front page news here today on the show, the Beyond Swanky podcast season 2. Okay, so this, gosh, I guess we're getting okay. So we're not getting so political, right? We're not. But I thought this was very interesting for me to talk about here on the show. So this is front page news for us. I know a lot of people have been talking about it as of late. I've been seeing it on Twitter and Instagram. A lot of podcasters, radio hosts, personnel, everybody's been talking about it. Even the Breakfast Club has been talking about this. So I wanted to talk about it here on the show. White student expelled from Howard University's law school sues alleged racial discrimination. Ooh, I'm going there, T. Now, if you guys don't know, Howard University is arguably one of the top HBCUs of America. Howard University, not Harvard, Howard University. And I thought this was very interesting to talk about for sure. Of course, I've had my opinions about this. Look, let me just read the article again. This is coming from NBC News, their article. The student displayed in quote, a pattern of antagonization actions against other students attending the law schools, and Howard spokesman person says. Of course, here is the report as we get into the story here. A white student was expelled from Howard University's law school, is now suing the historically black university in Washington, D.C., alleging race discrimination and creating a hostile environment. Of course, the plaintiff in this is Michael Ray Newman. Of course, he attended Howard University School of Law in the fall of 2020. Shout out to the fall of 2020 graduates. That's when I graduated. College is fall of 2020. Hard year because it was COVID. After receiving, now get this, now this is something I wondered that he did, right? Because he received a $26,000 annual scholarship to attend Howard University. I want to know what this guy did, right? I want to know what he did to get that scholarship. Now, hey, like I say, I don't like to hate too much, right, T? I didn't have a scholarship going to college. Yeah, I took loans, right? So I want to know what this student has done. He must have wrote a book to get, because it's interesting. This story is very, very interesting. Again, he was expelled about 2 years later, in September. The lawsuit, in which Newman's attorney filed February 6th to the Supreme Court, the District of Columbia, saying that he suffered emotional, mental, and economic harm, and seeks more than $2 million in damages. Look. What I'm about to say next is there's no racy, sticky situation. There's nothing racy that I'm about to say, but I got an opinion on this. I don't think, just being real, this student should have attended Howard University. Let me tell y'all why. Before y'all try to cancel me, before y'all come with the BS, this is just my opinion. This is how I think about this. This man attended Howard University, again, an historic black university, an HBCU. You attended this school, you being a white male, right? After, in today's society and what's going on in today's world, whether it's politics and racial discrimination, again, that's another topic for another day, but he attended this historically black college, and I guess he was thinking he was not going to be getting any backlash, right? Because I'm pretty sure, this is just my opinion, it's not fact, it's just what I'm observing from the story. A lot of other black African Americans that's attending this school, seeing this white boy and saying, what the hell is he doing here? Not me saying this, guys. This is what I'm observing, and I think other black African American college students at Howard University is looking at this kid is like, what the hell is he doing here? Right? That's just how I'm observing this. Right? It's been some things where he's been called racial slurs, if you will, right? I don't want to name that really on this show because I like to keep the show clean. But it's there, right? So a lot of people have observed this story, and I'm kind of on this what if T. I am. So Charlemagne the God said it on the Breakfast Club, and I kind of agree with him, right? It's a good observation. What if Michael Newman somehow, I don't know how he got the scholarship, but got the scholarship and said, hell yeah, I'm about to milk this. Right? I'm about to get expelled. I'm about to take this emotional discretion to my advantage. So that way I can sue this huge HBCU and get a 7-figure outcome. Because they're suing the school for $2 million. That's a 7-figure income figure that. So maybe he planned this. Right? Maybe he planned it. Maybe he said, we're going to do it this way. So that way it's a game. So that way I win this lawsuit and I get $2 million. Now I become a millionaire. Right? Maybe. That's a good observation. Right? The suit is in the result of the series of events in 2020 involving Newman's making comments on the professors. And this is another part of the story that we didn't get to yet. Newman's making comments on a professor's forum page where students engage in public debates and discussions. I'm very familiar with this because, as you guys don't know, I'm a grad student and we have discussions each week with my class. Newman moved the discussion to the forum after he voiced his opinion in the previous GroupMe chats. This is where things get dicey. This is where I think, maybe observation, he probably said this crap in this chat so that way he can get picked on, right? So then he could turn around and sue the school for that's $2 million. This is where that comes in. Previously, GroupMe chat about disagreeing with the black community, saying they believe government solved problems, countering his beliefs that he saw it only as cause problems, according to court's documentation there. Of course, he later expands his views on COVID and vaccines. There was another thing he said. I'm trying to get to it. January 31st, 2021. Holland held it. Okay. He said something about slavery, right? It was something about slavery that he said, and you know, they said it. Charlemagne the God said it here. Let me continue reading the story. There was something he said, a little bit more racial there. Let me read the story, and then I'll give y'all the. Let me continue. Frank Trimble, the vice president and the chief communication officer of Howard, said that the university declines to comment on pending litigation. The university is prepared to vigorously defend itself in this lawsuit, as well as it should, honestly, guys, and that the claims provide one-sided and self-serving narrative of the events leading to the end of the students' enrollment at Howard. Newman displayed a pattern of antagonizing action against other students who were attending the law school. Trimble added, of course, again, he's further his views of COVID-19 and vaccines. He said something that it was very. Oh, I know what he said. Guys. I'm sorry. I blanked out on that. I know exactly what he said. There was a lecture about, I guess the professor said something about slavery, and Michael Newman said, well, what did the slave do to get him whipped? Right? And a lot of podcasters went back on that. Michael Newman said there was a chat about slavery and how slaves were treated. And Michael Newman, maybe ignorance, would say, well, what did the slave do to get that? Insinuating that, oh, it's the slave's fault that he's been whipped to death. Very, very ignorant, right? That's in facts. That's in the stories. That's in the news. He said that, right? That was the turning point. He said that and said, okay, now they're going to pick on me and antagonize me. And that's when the racial slurs on the other counterpart, that's when that comes out. Where, not my words in perspective, guys, but this is what he said that's been called from other students. Other students called him a racist bigot, a cracker, a Karen, a John, right? In the reports, it's been the words cracker, right? Or cracker ass cracker, right? And one student quoted, cracker ass cracker. You know, those are racial slurs, by the way. So I think he might have did this on purpose to get that settlement lawsuit going. I don't think he's going to win this lawsuit. I think it's going to go bad for this man, right? It's not so much racy in this, in what I'm saying, but this has happened. And we as a society, this stuff does happen. I am not afraid and not sad for Howard. I'm glad Howard University, I'm glad that they're defending themselves. I'm really happy about that, because this is a historic of one of the biggest historic Black universities that you could attend to, and you're defaming them because of this, right? We have to understand society. And like I say, I'm not hating on Michael Newman for winning scholarships. Hey, Scott, if you win a scholarship for a college, congratulations, definitely. But you got to understand, if you want to attend, let's say, an organization where they have those standards, being Howard University, their standard is a historically Black college, and you're a white male, yes, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. I'm sorry to say that, but you are. You are. You got to be prepared for that stuff. And I think when it comes to slavery, everybody needs to be well educated on that. How slaves were treated. I would come out and say on this podcast, my ancestors were slaves. They were. So when you have a Black community where their ancestors were slaves, and you have people in different races, I'm not going to point out just one race, and because there's a lot of other races that don't understand, they're not educated, right? They're not educated. They're not watching what they're saying. Maybe I sound woke right now, but you have to be careful what you say in today's society. We're very sensitive. America is very sensitive with everything, right? You have to be careful. You do. So for him to say, what did the slave do? The fact that you don't know, that's a problem. Now he attended, and honestly, we can blame him. T. I blame the parents. I do. Right? If you, and this is for anybody who's attending college right now, or just now, who are freshmen and sophomores in college right now, it may be you having the lack of education, but your parents are teaching you something else. Because I'm always going to be a firm believer that racism and ignorance, you're not born with that. You're taught that by somebody. Who? Possibly the parents. Possibly your grandparents. Right? Those are the things I'm believing in. People who are in college right now, they're not educated about slavery and how African American, the Black community, is treated from now until today. No, you're not born with that. You're not born to be racist. You're not born to hate Black people. You're taught that. Your parents are teaching you this stuff. Your grandparents are teaching you this stuff. So that way, when you're out there in public, you act this way. Right? And then some people that act this way, and then they end up getting their ass kicked, they want to cry and wonder what happened. Because you wasn't sensitive. Because you didn't understand. You didn't have that education to watch what you say. Because folks from any type of races, I'm not pointing out one race, but folks from many races think they can come out and say whatever they want to say, and think they ain't got think they got power, and think they ain't got no repercussions of what they're saying. But then when they get their feelings hurt, oh, it's a different thing there. Oh, it's lawsuits, it's accusations, because their feelings got hurt because they didn't watch what they say. Right? So this was a very interesting story. It's out there, guys. Watch out for this. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen next. Like I said, I don't think he's going to win this lawsuit. I think he's going to lose this lawsuit, get it as a loss, and I think they're going to kick him out of this university. And honestly, when you get kicked out of a university has the right to do that. Whether it's this, whether it's something super bad, or if you plagiarize and cheat in college, these colleges have the right to kick you out of college. Right? I'm in grad school myself right now, and my grad school says, hey, if you cheat, you will get kicked out because I'm working for an MBA. So that stuff does happen, and they have every right to do that. Either that or revoke your financial aid. They have the right to do that because this is an academic kind of thing. It's not law. You're not entitled. Everybody has the opportunity to go to college, but you're not entitled to attend a school if they don't want you. You don't have that privilege. You don't have that entitlement. They can revoke that at any time. So it's a dicey situation, but like I say, this student, he's not going to win that lawsuit. Not by a long shot. Nah. Especially if you got executives and shareholders and actual students as witness. Yeah, you're not going to win this lawsuit. It's going to be out the window. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we have a closer and more music here on the Beyond Swanky podcast with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
The latest show goes after hours. The Beyond Swanky podcast with Kennedy Lucas brings out more for our Lucas Nation fans. Tune in for reviews, topics, and even special guests. We go beyond the swankiness as it's juicy as hell with our DJ Lou Pezzi, playing nothing but the hits on the Spotify podcast version. Live from our studio of Swanky Studios, it's the Beyond Swanky podcast with Kennedy Lucas on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 radio station. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more. Live from our newsrooms brings back our hit news network, SNN, with many news anchors like Arthur Brooks, Addison Hayden, and Beatrix Gemma. Brings you stories about the news worldwide. Tune in on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 radio stations. To get the latest news today, listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, of course. Welcome back to Beyond Swanky Podcast, Season 2. Host K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas, DJ Lou Pezzi. He's in the studio giving us nothing but bangers here on the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show as much as I did. Stay tuned, guys. Again, quick announcement. March 4th, guys, this Saturday is going to go down in the studio. Of course, we've got Ebony Nasongs Liggins. My good friend Ebony, she is coming to the studio. It is GDN alumni special podcast. If you guys don't know, Grizzlies Digital Network, shout out to them. I worked for them for 5 years in my college experience in production with our GGC athletic department team. Those have been one of the best 5 years of my life. I enjoy giving them production, producing, directing, and see, you know where I'm going with this, being the first ever president of the network back in 2016. I want to say it was very, very fun. Ebony, she reached out and she's going to be on the podcast too. We're going to talk about our GDN journey, our GDN experience, and also our GGC experience, the Georgia Gwinnett College experience. And it's because we're both alumni now, right? It feels good, right? But I graduated in 2020. It's 2023, so it's been almost, I want to say, about 3 years since I was in undergrad. So it's, you know, it's humbling, but kind of sad because it's like I kind of missed the undergrad experience. So again, March 4th, guys, look forward to it. We've got that special podcast going out. I'm so excited for that one. Speaking of excitements, guys, Black announces long-awaited third album and shares new single, Since I've Had a Lover. Guys, it is the season where artists are coming back with their new albums. Not trying to cross the artists here, but Don Toliver's latest album, Lovesick. Oh my God, that is one of my favorite albums right now. But Black goes by Black, but some people call him 6 Lag. I don't know. Black has announced his third studio album, Since I Have a Lover, alongside the release of the music video for a song for the same name. Of course, on Wednesday, yesterday, March 1st, Atlanta, Georgia native dropped the news regarding his new album via a press release. According to the release, Black's new album is slated to arrive March 24th via LVRN and Interscope Records. Again, I'm so excited for this because I love Black and I love the style of his songs and how he sings. Very, very excited for his third and new album. It's been a long time though. His first album was good. His second one was aight. But then now he got this third one, and it's time. It's so time for him to have his new album. Can't wait. Shout out to Black. He's got that album coming out potentially March 24th. So guys, don't sleep on that album. It's going to be very, very good. I'm going to listen. And we're going to have Black Night, right? We're going to have it where when his album comes out around March 24th, when we're doing our podcasting, we're going to have his songs on here as well. Can't wait. So excited. So that's going to wrap it up here on the podcast, here, the Beyond Swanky podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, thank you. On YouTube, don't forget to hit that bell notification so that way you guys don't miss out when we upload next. And subscribe to our channel at K.L.P Entertainment. And also, if you're listening to all of our major audio platforms, Spotify, Audacity, Stitcher Podcasts, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and so much more. Like us, share it with your friends so that way they don't miss out on this episode. Again, that's going to wrap it up here. The Beyond Swanky podcast with your host, K.L.P and Lucas. From our cast and crew, I like to say, stay safe, stay swanky, peace.